Welcome to The Explainer, everybody. Today we're diving headfirst into the raw, absolutely electric anticipation of La Liga's opening weekend. We're talking August magic, shock, and pure brilliance. Look, there is literally nothing in world football quite like the explosive start of Spain's top flight. It's that perfect time when the slate is completely wiped clean, the intense late summer heat is just beating down on the pitches, and every single club, from the reigning champs to the scrappy newly promoted underdogs, steps out with a massive point to prove. Over our time together today, we're going to break down the history, the mind-boggling logistics, and the incredible storylines that make the kickoff of this 2026-27 season so fascinating. Just let this quote sit with you for a second. In Spain, the magic doesn't wait. It starts immediately. Man, what a legendary sentiment. It perfectly captures that beautiful, untamed chaos of August football in La Liga. You know, unlike other leagues across Europe where, sure, teams might get a few weeks to find their rhythm, to kind of gently warm up their engines, La Liga, it demands instant perfection. If you aren't 100% ready on minute one of match day one, you're going to be ruthlessly punished. Because make no mistake, opening weekend is not just some glorified warm-up exercise. The sweltering heat, the deafening noise of those returning crowds, the sheer, unadulterated anticipation, it all creates this high-pressure crucible. The matches we get in these first few days frequently deliver stunning, absolute world-class goals, and they set the foundational momentum that can literally define a club's entire season. I mean, a shocking loss right out of the gate, that can immediately trigger a full-blown media crisis. But a massive, unexpected upset win, that can propel a relegation favorite straight into the conversation for European contention. It's wild. Section 1. Magic, Shock, and Brilliance. Historical opening weekend moments. To really understand what we're in for this season, well, if past match days have taught us anything at all, it's that La Liga emphatically does not care about your reputation. It doesn't care about your budget or how many trophies you have in your cabinet. On one side of the spectrum, you have absolute ruthless dominance. Take 2019, for example, when Barcelona responded to an opening setback by just obliterating Real Betis 6-2, with Antoine Griezmann making an instant, devastating two-goal impact. But then, flip that coin. Look at the year 2000. Real Madrid rolled up to opening weekend standing tall as the reigning European champions. And the reward? A truly shocking 2-1 defeat at the hands of Deportivo La Coruña. And this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate contrast, right? The terrifying firepower of the Giants versus the sheer hungry vulnerability they face when traveling to hostile grounds early in the year. And you know, sometimes opening weekend just gives us moments of pure, unfiltered legend. Picture this. It's 2019 at San Mamés, Athletic Club versus Barcelona. The game is locked in this tense, grueling stalemate, seemingly totally destined for a scoreless draw. And then, out of nowhere, in the 89th minute, Aritz Aduriz connects perfectly with a jaw-dropping bicycle kick. The stadium absolutely erupts into pandemonium. To this day, it remains without a doubt one of the greatest and most breathtaking opening weekend goals ever scored in the history of the sport. Moving on to part 2. The 2026 season begins, setting the stage for the 96 season. Shifting gears to the present, we've got to start with the heavyweights, right? The big three. FC Barcelona are entering as the two-time defending champions under Hansi Flick, proudly sitting on their 29th title from last season. And alongside them, you've naturally got Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid, standing as the heavy, traditional favorites. They're expected to completely dominate the top of the table, but here's the thing. While all the cameras and all the headlines are super focused on them, the reality is that the battle just beneath them, that desperate fight for European qualification and for mere survival in the top flight, well, that is poised to be one of the fiercest and most unpredictable we've seen in years. Across the league right now, we are witnessing a massive scale of tactical overhaul. Now, what's really interesting about this is how these massive managerial changes are going to radically transform team tactics. Athletic Bilbao is bringing in former Dortmund boss Edin Terzic, aiming to completely reinvigorate their squad dynamics. Elche and Osasuna's, they're both adapting to brand new leadership on the touchline too. But come on, the absolute headline grabber here is Real Madrid. On June 13th, they made the massive, totally shocking decision to bring back Jose Mourinho to replace Alvaro Arbeloa. I mean, wow. You simply cannot overstate how a managerial shift of that magnitude at the Bernabeu is going to radically alter their tactical approach right out of the gate. But Mourinho's highly anticipated return, yeah, it is not going to be a walk in the park. And this is exactly where the vulnerability comes in. Just look at this opening weekend injury list for Real Madrid. It is staggering, honestly. Thibaut Courtois, Rodrigo, Eder Militao, Ferland Mendy. We are talking about foundational core players here, all sidelined or questionable. Despite whatever busy transfer summer they've managed to string together, missing this much starting talent leaves the title favorites highly susceptible to exactly the kind of opening weekend shock we were just talking about. Which brings us to Section 3, a marathon match day 1, August 15th to August 27th. So as if significant injuries and completely new managers weren't enough to throw off the rhythm, the league has gone and handed everyone a truly bizarre anomaly. Match day 1 this season isn't just a weekend, it's a literal marathon. We have this incredibly chaotic 12-day timeline. Day 1 kicks off on Saturday the 15th with Alaves hosting Getafe. Then the action bleeds over into Monday the 17th for Deportivo's return. By day 5, Atletico Madrid finally takes the pitch against Malaga. And get this, it isn't until day 13, nearly 2 full weeks after the very first whistle, that Barcelona and Athletic Club close out the round on August 27th. Trying to accurately predict early season form is already incredibly hard. Stretching the matches out over almost 2 weeks, that makes it virtually impossible. Now, you might be wondering, why on earth is the schedule built like this? Well, it all comes down to the World Cup. Barcelona's originally scheduled opener against Athletic Club actually had to be postponed, specifically because France secured a hard-fought spot in the World Cup semifinals by beating Morocco. Because of Jules Koundé's continued involvement in that international tournament, it triggered a strict league-wide policy enacted by La Liga president Javier Tebas. This guarantees delayed starts for any affected clubs just to ensure player welfare. All right. Part 4. Fresh faces, familiar foes, historic clubs return to the top flight. While the Giants are out there dealing with international hangovers and these massively delayed schedules, we really have to look at the teams waiting in the wings. This year, we aren't just seeing fresh faces, we're witnessing the emotional return of some incredibly historic foes. And those heavy expectations placed on the Big Three, they stand in stark contrast to the desperate, hungry reality of these returning teams. 14. That is how many years it has been since Racing Santander was last in the top flight. Just imagine the profound emotional weight of that number for a second. Back in May, they finally mathematically secured their promotion with a euphoric 4-1 win over Real Valladolid. After a brutal, grueling 14-year absence, they are finally back, and their fans are absolutely going to make sure every single visiting team feels that pent-up energy. And right behind them, coming in at number 8, we have Deportivo de A Coruña. Returning after 8 long years, they are so ready to step back onto the pitch in front of a completely packed and roaring Ebenrica Reazor Stadium. Remember, this is the very same club that famously stunned Real Madrid back in 2000. Their top-flight pedigree is undeniable, even if their recent history has been a tremendous struggle. So the crucial point here is that while the emotions are running incredibly high, the reality of top-flight survival is just brutal. The hurdles this promoted trio is facing right out of the gate are immense. Look at Racing Santander. They love to attack under Jose Alberto Lopez, but they absolutely must tighten up their defensive structure if they want to survive the top tier. Then you've got Deportivo, who had to spend heavily just to give themselves a fighting chance at staying up. And then there is Malaga. They are leaning so desperately on their youth system right now because they're entering this grueling season with a massive 8-player injury list, missing key veteran guys like Calero and Juanpe. It is going to be a true trial by fire for them. Which leads us perfectly to Section 5. The magic starts immediately, the crucible of upsets. When you pull all of these narrative threads together, you really start to see the bigger picture. The historical precedents of opening weekend aren't just fun trivia. They perfectly contextualize the upcoming chaos of this 2026-27 kickoff. You can see this perfect storm brewing. We've got massive injury lists crippling the death of top clubs like Real Madrid. We've got this bizarre, totally staggered 12-day schedule throwing off everyone's natural rhythm. We've got sweeping tactical overhauls under high-profile new managers like Mourinho. And waiting to exploit every single bit of this, we have these desperate, historic teams playing in front of rabid, sold-out crowds. These aren't just logistical hurdles, guys. These are the exact potent ingredients required to brew those legendary, season-defining upsets. Because ultimately, as we wrap up this explainer today, we have to remember what La Liga is at its absolute core. It's fast, it's highly technical, and it is utterly, brilliantly unpredictable. Opening weekend isn't merely the beginning of the calendar. It's a statement of intent. It's a warning to the unprepared. And above all, it's a promise to the fans that the brilliance we've come to expect from Spanish football is about to be unleashed in full force. And with all that incredible anticipation building, I want to leave you with one final thought. Look back at the storied history, look at the beautiful chaos waiting in the wings for 2026. Which La Liga opening weekend moment is your favorite of all time? Seriously, think about it, keep that passion alive, and get ready because the referee's whistle is about to blow. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer and enjoy the start of the season.